I can't die in peace because I have to pay for my funeral, which is a minimum cost of 7 to 12 grand. But I'm dead. Like, why am I paying? Like, you even have to pay after you're dead. So, like, this economy is so bad. Okay, the rent is crazy. Mortgages are insane. To buy damn coffee is costing $10 these days. And if you're like,
I think her funeral was like 25,000.
No, I'm just talking about a casket. I'm talking about caskets.
Yeah, her casket had all embroidered stuff, mom and stuff on the side.
But here's my thing. You're fucking dead.
Why are you looking for the living among the dead? He is not here. He is not here.
Like I can't even see
it's
it.
going into the ground, and I get it's just like, oh, well, this is what they would want. I promise
I don't
you,
want it.
in the state that they're in right now, they don't care about none of this shit.
Nope.
I promise you, they don't care about an embroidered diamond, sparkly ass casket.
Well, yeah.
Y'all honestly don't even have to have a funeral. Have a big old dinner and then play some of my music and be like, he was a good man.
Fight at mine.
You're not even that type. I'm very confused. You're not even that type.
Why would we fight
I
at
just
your...
start swinging.
You just start swinging on people because they mad that you did. They just like, let's just take it out on each other.
Dude, you think funerals are expensive? My mom passed away on Christmas last year, and she got cremated. That was her wishes, same as mine. I don't want somebody to go through an expensive-ass funeral just to bury me. I would rather them keep more of the money than to spend it on me getting put into the ground. It cost $13,000 to cremate her and the service and all that shit. It was a nice service. There's a lot of people there. You know, everybody showed up and gave their respect. But $13,000 to cremate somebody? There's no casket involved. There's no none of that. Why is it $13,000? Because shit's fucking expensive.
Oh, yeah, it costs money to die. You thought it was free? Nah, it ain't free. You gotta pay, even in the grave. Look at this next clip.
A lot of people would hate to hear this, but funerals are keeping us broke as Africans and Ghanaians. Last year, the father of one of my uncles passed away. And almost immediately, I could sense the cloud of sadness and anxiety he had, not only because his father had passed away, but the type of financial responsibility he would have to come out of pocket for. There's this misconception in the African community that if you live abroad or you live in any other country other than Ghana, you are immediately the Busiampini, which inherently means that if you live in abroad, you're very far off financially because the currency you earn in is way better than the Ghanaian currency. And this isn't a bad thing, only if Africans didn't do exorbitant funerals. During the emergency family meeting, my uncle was told the funeral is going to cost 400,000 cedis, which is about $40,000. And he's going to be responsible for covering 70% of that 40,000. 70% of a $40,000 funeral cost is going to be $28,000. There was absolutely no way my uncle was going to be able to fund this because he has his kids who are going to college, he has kids in high school, his wife, he needs to take care of the house, the mortgage, so many payments that he needs to make. And the crazy part is that he doesn't even bring $60,000 home annually. So he had to go in for a personal loan so as to not disgrace his culture. He took out a personal loan from one of these federal credit unions, and they gave him the $28,000 up front. He had a decent credit score and he had a good repayment history on all his credit cards. So he was given a 15% APR with terms to pay back the loan within the next 6 years. This would mean that he'd have to start making payments of around $600 per month up until the tune of the loan has been paid off. My uncle had barely $300 after all his bills and expenses have been taken care of for the month. And to think he would have to start making $600 payments every single month towards a loan on a funeral was insane. So I witnessed this man pick up several side gigs doing Uber, Spark, Amazon Flex, every single thing he could do to make up an extra $300 just to be at net zero at the end of the month. And after he's made all his payments to his loan at the end of the 6 years, he's going to pay a total of $42,628 for a funeral that costed $28,000. He would have paid $14,628 purely interest.
I should have known life was a scam when I realized that it costs money to die. If you want to be properly sent off this earth into the afterlife with a good funeral, it costs minimum $5,000. And if you want to have a nicer funeral, it's up to 15 to 20K. Like, how does it cost money for you to die? I understand, it costs money to buy water that's already on this earth. It costs money to live in a home that should be provided to everybody. It costs money to eat food. Okay, whatever. But to die, y'all gonna scam us all the way up until we die, and then when we die, we still gotta give you some money. That should really open up y'all minds, because that is some crazy stuff right there. I ain't even gonna lie.
It's kind of dystopian, but it's true. It costs money to live, and it costs money to die. Lady in this next clip is going off. Get your popcorn. Let's see what she got to say.
Imagine going to a funeral home, trying to get things in order before the time comes. And you sitting there listening to everything the lady is saying. You sitting there, and all you hear is blah 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 blah. And the whole time you looking at her, and she blah 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 blah, but you're not hearing a word she motherfucking saying. You're not hearing a word she's saying. And she's telling you this, and she's showing you pictures of this, and showing you pictures of that, and she going on, and you looking at her. She looking at you, you looking at her, and she blah 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 blah. And you looking at her, and you just nodding your head, but you're not hearing a goddamn thing. You're not hearing everything she's saying. It's not registering to you, but she think it is. She think it's you. You're hearing everything she's saying, but you're really not. Until she say, okay, you want to sign here, and you want to sign here, and sign there, and this is for this, and this is for that, and you like, wait a minute, sign what? What am I signing? What is this for? And she said, we just talked about it. And I said, what we talked about? I literally zoned the hell out. When I say I zoned out, I literally was in another world. I did not hear a goddamn thing lady said. Then nothing clicked with me. And she sat and she talked for about a good 30, 45 minutes. Showed me pictures and everything. And I'm like, ma'am, could you please repeat this? Because I don't know. And she was like, okay, no problem. And I got in the car after she repeated everything, and I signed the papers and everything, and she's telling me these prices. I have heard people say funerals are expensive. I have heard them say that, but I never had to get down to the nitty-gritty of it. And listen, I'm not to that stage yet. I'm just trying to get prepared, or trying to get a heads up or stepping a feet in the head of the process before my mom leave here. At least I can have some kind of something set in place. I have heard, like I say, I have heard of funerals being expensive, but a goddamn casket starting that mother freaking $1,200, that's just the starting price. They charge you for every goddamn thing. They charge you for everything. They charge you for the goddamn paper that you're signing. I did not know funerals were that expensive. How do y'all afford it? How could y'all afford it? Y'all got horses and carriages and birds and trees and everything. And the funerals are beautiful. Y'all got gowns, y'all got carriages, y'all got dancers, y'all. How in the hell could y'all afford this? Y'all got some big ass insurance policies. limo. $400 just for a limo. Just to pick you up, to take you to the graveyard and bring you back. And don't bring you back home. They're going to leave you at the church. Then it's $150 extra if you got to stay over the little 3 hours they give you. But y'all got carriages, horses. So if the goddamn limo costs that much, how much does the horse and carriage cost? It's $1,500 to starting price at a casket. How much y'all charge to wrap these caskets? Is it cheaper just to go buy some wrapping paper? Somebody please help me understand. Because I don't know. I don't get it. These people charge you. They charge you to talk to the insurance companies to get the insurance money that's gonna pay them. They charge you, but you can talk to they can talk to the insurance company and send them some papers so the insurance could pay them. I do not know. Like I say, I have heard, but I was never down in the nitty gritty myself of experiencing this. This shit is expensive as hell. I'm just trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong. How could y'all afford this type of mess? When that lady got through for the second time explaining to me and all these prices and stuff adding up and all this, I told that lady, honey, and I clean ass for a living. I told that lady, honey, wait a minute, I'm in the wrong goddamn field. I'm in the wrong damn field. I told a lady, let me go try another funeral home. I'll be back because whoa. Do we get some discounts right here or something? Man. And what she told me, she said, well, I'm glad you came now before it happened. At least you got a clear mind of everything, what's going on. Baby, my mind ain't clear. It ain't clear at all because, honey, that's why you had to repeat yourself. And you got to repeat yourself 3 or 4 more times when you come up with a price in, the price there, the price down. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Baby, I have to laugh or cry because I'm shocked. These prices are, woo! Y'all don't get seeing discounts on these prices? Woo! Lord. Baby, a $20,000 policy ain't gonna get it, baby. A $20,000 life insurance policy ain't gonna pay. It ain't gonna get it. Baby, you got to add on another $20,000 with that, baby. Because if you try, all right, bye.
I feel like if you die with no life insurance and no plan, I don't think there's nothing wrong with putting you in the ground as cheap as possible.
So I just want to kind of touch on what leaves a funeral so expensive, especially for burial in Northern Ireland. And the main reason for that is the cost of your burial plot. And I have touched in a previous video about the cost in the ABC Council for a council plot. Churches have their own price scheme, but range pretty much in the same sort of region. But your funeral bill is mainly made up on third-party fees, as we call them, and those are fees that we pay on your behalf. And that is obviously for your plot if you're purchasing a new plot, for the interment fee of opening your plot in the council, or your gravedigger's fee and interment fee if it is a church plot. You then have minister's fees, organist fees, caretaker's fees. Sometimes you will have a graveyard warden fee for the church. These fees all are basically the biggest proportion of what your funeral expense is. So I think that is probably the biggest driver for why people are veering away from church burials and moving more into funeral home services in the house, and then doing your burial in the council cemetery. But those third-party fees are fees that we cannot do anything with, that we don't take any form of percentage on them. We just pay them directly on your behalf, and they are the largest part of your funeral bill. So it's very frustrating sometimes as a funeral director whenever a family receive a bill and they're like, my goodness. But the reality is, almost most of the time, 50% of that bill will be directly paid out to third-party fees, and that is not including your flowers, your order of service, and any extras that you have. So please take this into consideration whenever you're considering a funeral, because today the church fees and burial fees are getting extortionate in Northern Ireland.
Hi, my mom just died and I need to set up some funeral arrangements for her. Can you help? I'm so sorry for your loss. Yes, we can absolutely help. Okay, great, thank you. She didn't have anything set up, but I want to do right by her. Absolutely. For the funeral and services, you're looking at around $8,000 to $12,000 depending on what you choose. Wait, $10,000? I don't have $10,000. Hey attorney, my mom just died and I don't know what I need to do next. Can you help? Hi, yes, this is the attorney speaking. So you're going to need to get her death certificate, handle all of her debts, and then file her final tax return. Okay, and how much is this all going to cost me? Also, why does she need a tax return? She died. A final tax return is required to report income earned up to the date of death, pay any final taxes owed, and claim any refunds. It fulfills the legal obligations to settle the deceased person's affairs. And a tax return usually is going to cost you somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500. And then you'll have to pay whatever taxes she owes and pay off any creditors that she has debts with still. So whatever credit card companies, Department of Healthcare Services, and so forth. Geez, okay, thank you. So it's going to be $10,000 for the funeral, $1,500 for the tax return, then I have to pay taxes, then I have to pay off her credit cards. I don't have this type of money. What do I do? Unfortunately, this is the reality that most families face that nobody talks about and nobody really knows about until they have to experience it for themselves. And that's why I often see it's pretty common for families to want to set up a small life insurance policy to handle all of these kind of after-death expenses so that they don't have to burden their family. Because when life happens, the financial burden doesn't go away. It only passes on to the next person who has to clean up the mess.
One of the saddest calls I get as an insurance agent. I talk to families every day who are trying to figure out how to pay for a funeral after losing someone they love. And the truth is that today, a funeral can cost you anywhere from $8,000 to $15,000. That's why a lot of people set up something called final expense insurance. It's a small life insurance policy designed specifically to cover funeral costs, so your family isn't stressed or left in debt. If you want to see what something like this might cost for you or your parents, just send me a message, comment info, and I'll be happy to help.
I have a serious question. I don't know if this is an American thing or what, but why do we spend so much money on the dead? I might ruffle some feathers, but it's just a question that I had in my mind. Why do we spend $20,000, $30,000, $100,000 on funerals when a person is already dead? That sound like something a man made, and they just trying to take our money. It really do. Because in this one particular culture, they don't buy headstones, they don't buy caskets, they don't have awakes, they don't have the going away party, they don't buy the hearse, they don't have funerals, they don't do none of that. I don't know, is it them being cheap or them trying to save? But to me, that makes a lot of sense. Why do we waste so much money when a person is already gone? And don't get me wrong, I know they probably had life insurance and everything, but get out to the grandkids or get out to the, somebody who has a longevity in life. I really think that's what that should be used for. Yes, you can use the life insurance for the person, who passed away, but I don't really believe that they need all that stuff. I think all that stuff is just for show. Like the horse and carriage and stuff like that. That stuff is just to show that you got money. Honestly, am I wrong?
Yeah, I agree with your sister. I told my people, hey, God forbid I die, man. Look, I don't care. I'm dead. Look, put my body wherever y'all can put it. Put it under the couch or something. I don't know, man. You ain't got to spend that money. I'm gone. Okay, I'll spend that money. I'd rather y'all go or take a vacation to Disneyland or Jamaica or something. Don't spend that on no box with me. Okay, because they're probably going to dig it back up and take me out anyway. Okay, but that's a conspiracy. Let's get into the next clip.
You know, it's funny how people say that cremation is the cheap option in the funeral world. Okay, let's talk about it for a minute. Yes, on paper, cremation is usually lower than your traditional burial because you're removing certain things that you don't really need. You're removing the casket. You're removing the opening and closing costs of the cemetery. You're removing the outer burial container. You know, you're removing the cost of the hearse. You're removing the cost of the limousine. Okay? So yes, when you put it on paper as a simple cremation, yes, it is going to be lower than your traditional burial. But what people aren't talking about is when families are coming in and they want to add things on to the cremation. So yes, a simple direct cremation is usually lower than a traditional burial. But when you want a viewing before the cremation, and depending on when you want that viewing, now everybody knows in our community, Cousin Shirley, Cousin Shell, Cousin Pookie, they probably all live in a different state. So now we got to wait on Cousin Shirley, Cousin Michelle, and Cousin Pookie to catch a flight to wherever we are. So you know that then you have to add on that cost of embalming, you know? Okay? After that, family may say, well, you know, we just want to go ahead and have a funeral. Okay? Then you have to talk about a rental casket. Okay? And then they may say, well, we want the limousine to come pick us up and bring us to the funeral home. So now you have a limousine charge added. And depending on, well, you know, well, we want some obituaries. So now you've ran that funeral bill up, and now that cremation bill is the same cost as a funeral. So I simply say that to say this. It's not about what's cheap and what's expensive. You know, it's about how you want to celebrate your loved one's life. If your loved one did not care to have all of that at their funeral or their memorial, that's good. But other people, it doesn't matter how much they're spending. They want to celebrate their loved one's life. So in the funeral industry, it's not about what's cheap, what's expensive. It's about celebrating life.
Yeah, that's a real mortician. According to him, I believe he's a mortician. He got a suit on. I mean, I think he's a mortician. But he said something about a rental casket. Renting the casket is crazy. Why would you? I feel like it's a rental casket anyway. Because why would y'all make that money and I mean spend all that time making that thing? You gonna look at it one time? Oh my goodness! You cry, get it out the way, and it's in the cat and it's go. Nobody would know. And if you guys dig it back up at night, and nobody's. I'm not going to the grave and digging up and trying to see. Oh, where my loved one at? Oh, the casket's gone. Who's doing that? Okay, they're gonna kick you off the property if they saw you with a shovel anyway. But look, it's Josh from Talk to Him. But I just talk to you, boy. It's expensive to die, so y'all try to stay alive. I'm out of here. Peace.